Against all odds, this year I'm already done with all of my Christmas shopping. And that is in part because this year I decided I'm going to focus more on heartfelt details and experiences instead of buying tons of things. That's why today I'm customizing stocking stuffers and small gifts. And I also have this new set of acrylic markers that Ohuhu sent me that I want to try out. So let's get creative. The first thing I bought to customize was one of these fancy hand sanitizers. They look so cool, and the shape is perfect for customizing, if you ask me. This one in particular is made in Ecuador, but I'm sure you've seen this style before. My plan was to remove the lettering with acetone, and yeah, nope. No, it's not coming off. It took a tiny bit of the black off, but the branding itself wasn't going anywhere. So, plan B, time for the markers. These are the new sets that Ohuhu sent me. I already opened one box for the thumbnail, but I'll open the other one with you now. I love that the swatch card is printed right on the lid because you have no idea. I've lost so many swatch cards, even though I swear I never take them out of my studio. The markers are organized in these little pockets so everything stays in order. I like that too. And they sent me a brush nib set and a bullet nib set. Same colors for both. I usually prefer brush nibs, but we'll see. I swatched the colors before starting because I needed to get familiar with the color palette. And honestly, what surprised me was that these markers are exactly like our childhood markers, meaning no pumping, no shaking, no activating. You just uncap them and go. But they are acrylic paint marker. It's refreshing, no mess. And I think the colors are lovely, lots of desaturated tones, which I like a lot. Not super bright, very soft and usable. So back to the sanitizer and our plan B. And since the branding was not budging, I took the darkest gray in the set and started blacking out parts of the logo. Once all of the letters were covered, I connected the shapes into this uneven blob, which honestly makes a great background. It needed a couple of layers to fully cover the printing, so I tested drying it with a heat gun between coats, and it worked perfectly. No bubbling, so I just kept going. I had zero plan for any of these items. Normally, for about half my videos, I do some planning or brainstorming before facing a blank canvas, but not that day. I just jumped in. And now I had a gray blob. So, what goes well with gray? I thought yellow, and because I love bees, I drew one. The first layer was light, but I knew a couple more coats would make it opaque. As that dried, I drew the wings, and then I added purple flowers around it to match the silicone case. And as I was painting this, I kept thinking how something so simple can still be so personal. It's practical, it's inexpensive, but customizing it makes it feel meaningful, like you're gifting a little piece of yourself. And honestly, that's something I've been thinking about a lot this season. December can be heavy for so many people. I know I feel like I am more single during December. There's so much pressure to spend, to host, to be cheerful, to have everything together. But I think small things like this really do count. A little handmade detail, a tiny drawing, a customized gift, those things carry warmth that money can't buy. So if this season feels stressful or lonely for you, please know there's nothing wrong with you. A lot of people feel that way, myself included, even if no one talks about it. Life can get busy, the world is a little bit more overwhelming now, and everybody's juggling something. So sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is slow down, make something with your hands, and let that be enough. Yeah, sorry for the yap. As I've been talking, I added a second and third layer to the bee, so now I'm doing the details, black stripes, the little face, and pink cheeks. I outlined the wings with white, added a few extra leaves, and that was it. I popped it back into its silicone case and was about to move on when I remember I need to varnish this because this surface is basically like glass and acrylic paint will just scrape off if we don't seal it. So I taped off the areas I didn't want varnished and I used my go to spray varnish. I think I oversprayed because it got super bubbly, but again, I used the heat gun and it helped pop them. It dried perfectly, smooth, and sealed. So now I put it back in the case, and that's the first gift. For the second gift, I have this little pocket mirror, which is actually for my daughter. She doesn't watch my videos. She likes keeping a mirror in her backpack, and she broke her last one. So, just like in my previous video when I painted on leather, I'm starting by wiping the surface with a little acetone. Plastic and faux leather and leather items usually have this protective film that doesn't take the marker well, so you have to clean it. And once it's clean, I need to wipe off the acetone with a damp cloth. Dry it, and we're ready to paint. I wanted a quote on this one, and I chose "You are already beautiful." I struggled so much with getting this lettering right. And honestly, now that I'm reviewing the footage, I can see I was being a little too hard on myself. It looked fine, but I thought the spacing was off, so I wiped it off with acetone and started again. You're going to see me redo it over and over because I just didn't like it. But oh wow, watching it now, it was perfectly okay. It's different. It's just so different seeing your work from a distance, like on the footage, versus being right there in the middle of it. And that truly shows me that perspective changes everything. That's why I always tell my kids try to look at your work with love, gratitude, and compassion for yourself. It honestly does help. Well, after a few tries, I remember you can sketch on leather with the gel pen because the gel pen will never fully dry, so you can redraw as many times as you want. When everything else is dry, when all the acrylic paint is dry, the gel pen just wipes off with the damp cloth. So I kept rewriting it until I liked how the letters look, and then I traced it with a marker. I chose this quote because my daughter and I are constantly arguing about makeup because I believe she's gorgeous and she doesn't need any, or at least not that much. And she is 17. So you can imagine how that goes. But about the mirror, even though my writing wasn't truly in the middle, I was happy with the composition and the look of the quote, so I started to draw some stuff. My daughter is into stars and moons and mystical elements, so I did a star, then a moon, and I chose the most muted colors from the set because I know she prefers darker colors. I drew a sun, and then I started to add little stars here and there to complement the idea. And I'm so far out my comfort zone with this theme that I couldn't get it to look right at first. I regretted painting the sun all the way to the edge, so I cleaned it with acetone, and cleaning makes a little bit of a mess, and it also ruined my manicure, but it's okay, I had a good reason for doing it. I was adding more details and drawing an eye in the middle of the star when I decided I did not like that sun at all. So I wiped it off, and this, as you can see, made such a huge mess because it's really hard to keep the acetone to just one place. And yes, I wanted to show you can make a mistake and erase it, but I'm trying to get rid of something on the background, a big something. So it was bad, and I ended up removing much more than I wanted. I managed to get it clean enough to move forward again, so I touched up the letters and contemplated if it looked too murky. I thought it was okay enough to carry on, so I drew a snake instead of a sun because, unlike me, my daughter likes snakes. And then, to try to cover my mistakes, I decided to draw a little moon and star behind the quote so it wouldn't look as dirty. Then, when that dried, I went over the letters again to bring them to the foreground. Put some details on the snake and a couple of dots to connect the colors, and yeah, this one's done, but I truly don't know. You tell me. I'm thinking the initial sun looked better and less crowded. Am I overthinking this one? Is it too messy? Well, at that moment, I varnished it to move forward, but I'm having second thoughts about it, so please let me know. Do you think I should paint over it? Let me know in the comments because I still have plenty of time before Christmas to change this. While the mirror dried, I noticed my desk was already a crazy mess, so I just took all of the markers and put them into this rotating storage thing Ohuhu sent. I love it so much. I love the color, the shape, the material, and of course the fact it rotates. So I wanted it to be like a special thing in one of my shelves, so I still didn't know what to put in it. But while I was working and I put the markers in, it helped me keep organized, and it was so much easier to work with the markers in a container like this one. So just for you to know. And here's the mirror back now that it dried. And now it doesn't look as bad to me. Now it looks good to me again, but I'm still not sure. So, yes, please give me some feedback. And I'm sorry I'm making such a big deal about this tiny mirror, but it's for my daughter. So I want it to be super special. I did put it back into its original packaging since these are all gifts and I just want people to know they are actually new. Moving on, I got this cute nail set. I think it's perfect for traveling or whatever. And this one, I'm going to give it to my mom. Again, I cleaned the surface with acetone and then wiped the acetone off. And my mom likes chickens. So I just started drawing a simple one. After the ordeal with my daughter's mirror, I wanted to do something pretty straightforward and easy. Then drew all of the details on its head and I drew a leg, and now it seemed too simple. So maybe adding flowers to it? Yeah, I like that. Flowers with red and then with purple because it's one of my favorite color combos lately. And I still had some space, so I decided to add a chick on top of the chicken, representing myself as my mom's only child. I was going to write something like number one mom or my mom's name, but can you imagine through my 45 years how many gifts I've given my mom with the same number one mom saying? Probably too many, so I decided to go for keep it chic instead. Added a couple of hearts, went over the letters with the bullet tip marker, which I'm liking the bullet tip more on these. And then I just varnished it with the same Angelus leather varnish I'd used for my daughter's mirror. Put it back in its original box, removed the price, cleaned it, and closed it with tape, and it was ready. Next, one of the items I was most excited to customize a wooden brush. All summer, I saw people on social media glue seashells to these, but I always thought the texture on that would bother me, so painting felt like the better option for me. This one was meant to be for a friend, but you'll see what happened. I did sand it just a little bit to give the markers something to hold on to, and I sketched with pencil first. I wanted a quote again, and I chose all kinds of amazing. Then I just drew hearts because, like I said at the beginning, I had no plans for this video, and hearts tend to be my go to because I like them so much. When I could visualize the design from my loose sketch, I erased some of the pencil and started outlining and filling the hearts I drew. I'm using the same color combo I had on the chicken, pinks, red, and purple, because like I said, I like those colors together. I applied a second layer of paint to all of the hearts, and then I started adding details, just drawing random stuff that I enjoy. I was having fun. And speaking of creating memories and moments, I think these little customizations would make the perfect activity to share time with loved ones. It's something you will enjoy by yourself, sure, I did, but also with one or more additional people. A present loving activity. And with these markers in particular, you would definitely have zero mess. I like that. I'm always afraid to give people the markers that you pump or shake because I know how much ink can fly off and acrylic paint does not come off a lot of surfaces. But these ones, these are what I would call safe. Okay, once I was done with my design, I started adding the words. I used a white marker first because I wanted to have a very small white drop shadow behind the letters. I noticed I did not have enough space for the word amazing, but since I'm using the white just like a background, I was able to adjust the letters so they would fit. I knew I could fix it more with the black on top. I let that first layer of white marker dry and then went over it to polish the opaqueness. And then after that one dried, I used the black marker to write. Like I said, I offset the black letters a bit to get that layered effect and move things to make all of my letters fit. Time to varnish, but in this case, I wanted to make super sure the bristles would be protected from the spray since those would touch the skin. And for this brush, I wanted to use this other varnish I got, and I needed to go outside. This is a much more complicated medium. It's a two-component varnish that you activate from the bottom. And I got this one to protect a custom Stanley cup I made for a friend. If I find footage, I'll put it here. And I bought it for my friend because you really need this or resin on a customized metal item, or the paint will definitely scratch off. But as I sprayed, this gunk came out from the nozzle. And I thought maybe this is a one use spray. Once you activate it and mix the components, you have to use all of the can. I'm not sure, I'll find out, but for now I can let you know that this ruined the brush because the gunk created like this sandy texture on top of my brush. Bummer. You can't really see it as much in the footage, but it was speckled and ruined. I did try fixing it by applying my other varnish on top, but yeah, the brush is not perfect anymore. So I'm going to use this one as either a white elephant gift or as a prize for a Christmas game or something. I need to make something else that's perfect for my friend. Luckily, I did have this other tiny brush to play with, and this one is in the shape of a cat. Well, honestly, depending on how you're painting it, it could be other animals, a pig, a dog, a panda bear, but I am painting a cat because this one's for my cousin who loves them. I thought the best would be a calico cat so I could add more color to the brush. I started with a heart shaped eye patch and then chose the 6 colors on the bottom of the swatch card because I liked how they looked together and how neutral they were. I added the color fur patches on the head and then drew its face. I wanted to have him squinting with his little tongue out, so I drew that, gave it a color, put my cousin's initial on the handle, and yeah, even after applying a second layer of paint, this literally took 5 minutes. It was super fast, and what actually took the longest was waiting for the varnish to dry. But here it is, this is how it dried, and I like that it's a little bit more shiny now with the varnish. And here's this last brush next to everything we customized today. Definitely my favorite thing to customize was the hand sanitizer, so I think I'm gonna get a couple more of those for other friends. The markers were amazing. I really enjoyed working with them, and I hope this video inspired you to get those little gifts and make them extra special for someone by adding a little touch of your love to them. With that, I hope I'll see you next week with a brand new video and that you're having the most wonderful day. Bye!